Welcome to the Porsche Club Insider, your one stop for all things Porsche and PCA. Here's your host, Vu Nguyen, and the Insider crew.
Welcome everyone to episode 125. We are PCA's national headquarters. Around the table, we have your favorites. We have Manny, Damon, Lowney, and of course, frequent to the table now, I think, the owner of At Speed Motors, Bob Miller. Welcome, Bob.
Oh, hi guys. Thanks for having me again.
He only lives 10 minutes away, that's why.
Is that why?
He works 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
Easy talent to recruit.
They had another guest, but he bailed, so they called me last minute.
You know what? You get some very favorable comments when you're on. So
Oh, thanks. At least one. I pay the guy $20 every time.
So it was good to see you on Saturday. I think you were surprised to see me.
I was.
I always get up to Hunt Valley, but great weather finally. I mean, somebody was talking about the Cars and Coffee curse of rain and such, and
That's Rich Bauer.
I was going to say, Rich.
Yeah, Rich Bauer has a theory that every Saturday it's going to be a nice Cars and Coffee. The clouds get together and just start raining.
just on Hunt Valley.
Just Hunt Valley.
Already he's working.
Yeah.
That's
When
true.
he works,
That's
it's
true.
always a nice day.
So anything new come through your shop lately that you might want to talk about?
Well, that's an interesting question. So on Saturday, which is why I left, I brought in an 07 GT3 RS in Viper Green from Japan.
Wow.
And it originally was a U.S. car, so it showed up Saturday.
Wow.
Now, why would you need to import a Japanese car if that car is available here?
Well, first of all, Viper Green in the Gen 1 997 GT3 RS is uber rare.
Uber rare.
So super rare.
And if it goes Japan, I guess it's right-hand drive or left-hand drive, rather?
Well, and originally it was a U.S. car.
Oh.
And so a Japanese collector got it, brought it to Japan, and then decided to sell it. If it wasn't a U.S. car, it would have been another $100,000 to make all the changes and get it back into the
25 years
U.S.
old yet.
Correct. Right. So this is we got lucky because it's a U.S. car, and we got lucky because it's Viper Green.
Oh, that is my favorite Porsche ever.
Well, you can come over.
So is it for the business? And I'm doing air quotes here.
No. It
Or is it
is
the customer's car?
sold.
It's sold.
I'm doing air quotes.
In case his wife is listening.
That's not true. No, it sold as soon as it stepped onto the boat.
Wow.
So did you go? Then did you go over there to inspect the car, or?
I didn't because my contact knew the car prior to its shipment, and so I had all the pictures prior, and then I had pictures currently. So with a little bit of sprucing, it'll be right back where we need it.
So what was the driving factor of this car? The color, or that you knew the history of it? Why go to Japan to get this car?
Both. The color is super rare, and I might speak out of turn, but I think less than 30 were made in Viper Green.
Viper Green with the black wheels. And
Yes.
So obviously
the yellow.
ETS.
No,
it's not
No, that
PTS.
was the standard color.
Wasn't
Back
that
then,
a
it was
launch
just
color, or was it black with
Viper
orange?
green, really? I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
But yep, it was not
Very
PTS.
rarely spec'd.
But exactly,
Yeah.
nobody
why.
wanted Viper
My
Green.
favorite color is green.
Yeah, very strange.
Todd Bernard has a Viper green GT3.
I think he does.
And you
This
did say
is
997,
this is an
right?
RS,
A 997.
997.1.
So people won't buy it or didn't buy Viper Green, but they would buy, gray with red wheels
Yeah.
or orange with black wheels.
Strange.
Yeah.
Strange.
Weird.
And you never can figure out the market. You just
Yeah.
sort of look back and say, okay, this is how many are there.
Yeah, because I would argue Viper Green, out of all the colors I just mentioned, are my favorite. So,
Exactly, right?
Listen, I tend to agree.
and I'm not a green car person.
Yeah.
So did this car come about because of your connections? Did it ever hit the market, or
No, it was never. Nobody knew it was for sale.
that? Yeah, and we hear of these types of transactions because us mere mortals always are looking, hoping to see an ad pops up for it. But
Right.
cars like what you're talking about is traded between people that know each other.
Well, and you guys know that's what I do.
Yeah.
And so somebody calls and and calls you,
Right.
and then you call me, and then I call a customer, and then poof, it's gone.
Yeah,
It
And
never
it's
shows
much
up.
easier for the seller too because they trust you, and
Sure.
the buyer also trusts you, and
Right.
so yeah, I
But
can
it's so much
see
more
why.
fun going to Monterey and having some drinks and bidding on cars.
Oh, and the stress of whether or not your check is gonna go into the right account and the title, will it arrive?
Well,
all that
and
kind of
you
stuff,
guys
right?
know I've done that.
Yeah.
So I showed up and I knew the reserve on a C4 lightweight,
Yeah.
and my buddy and I had a couple vodkas, and then I hear right around 350,000 reserve is lifted.
Oh.
And I said, "Wait, what?" and Manny knows. I ended up coming home with a C4 lightweight, which is insane. And so there was a lot of that. Like, my God, how do I pay for this? And luckily, RM, if you pay a certain amount, they'll put up the rest. So
Do you have a layaway program?
yeah, exactly. So and that happened.
Yeah.
But sometimes great cars show up and you almost can't help yourself.
So will this car stay locally or somewhere far?
It's somewhat local. It's
that's cool.
Tennessee.
Okay. Not
So
that
that's
local.
not really.
Oh, darn.
you know.
Oh, congratulations to the buyer. Wow.
Well, and you can come by.
Yeah.
You can drive it. You guys, because we've got a lot of things we need to do to it.
I know.
All right, let's
Exactly.
wrap this up.
We can leave now.
The shortest podcast we've
Yeah,
had.
right. And then you asked if any other interesting cars, and then a 71E that needs to be completed, numbers matching engine, metallic blue, sunroof, which is rare, came to the shop on Saturday. So we're going to finish that, and that's already sold as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
How many
Finish
cars
it.
do you sell per year, roughly, or help with the selling process?
Damon, not a ton, maybe
Not a ton.
maybe 20, 25,
Yeah,
something like that.
gotcha. But significant historically,
Yeah.
usually.
Well, they're generally not, let's say, less than top 1% cars. So they're investment grade cars.
Yeah.
And I always tell everybody, look, what are you doing with your IRA? If you're staring at it and smiling at a number on a piece of paper, I can give you something that will also do exactly what those numbers are doing, which is increase, and you can have a great time doing it.
Gotcha.
So a piece of art.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I always love the cars that come through your shop. That's
Yeah,
for
well,
sure.
thanks.
We need
Let's-
to have him.
let's
Let's
bring
invite
your
him
wife
to
on
dinner.
the
Let's
show
have
and-
him to dinner. Bring Loanne and Roxanne.
I want to
over.
see. Well, I want to record it because I want to see. I want to see their counter comments.
Well, listen, you can't. I mean, your 914 is a perfect example. Don't say what you paid for it, but I can tell you it's worth double what you paid for it at the very, very minimum.
Yeah, a little bit more than that.
Even
And
better,
apparently, he
right?
gave you a buy it now price that you
He
didn't jump,
did.
You didn't jump on.
No, I did.
You did jump on
I
it.
jumped on it, and
then
I said,
he pulled
okay,
back?
and then he reneged.
Oh, man.
Well, that was first of all. That was the buy now price was like 5 years prior.
No, I came back within a couple months. I said, all right, can I buy
a
it?
couple of months.
And he
5
said-
years, I think he said.
No,
5 years.
he said, no, I'm not going to do it. And I said, all right, well, what's the number? He said, well, there isn't one.
Yeah.
What?
That's Manny's forever.
Which
He'll
listen,
never
I
give it.
completely respect that.
Do you have a forever car?
Yeah, I have two.
2 forever cars. Well, what are
Yeah,
they?
now another. But you guys know I left the country. I sold everything, and I kept 2 cars. One was a 1972 911S prototype. So it's the very first 72S ever built. It's number 00011. It had gearbox number 9150001.
What?
Wow.
The engine is supposedly the EPA test engine because they were moving from a 2.2 to a 2.4. It's painted in factory Viper green as a paint to sample from the factory because they didn't have Viper green in 72. It was 71 was Conda green.
Have I ever seen this car?
Well, you can come by and see it.
You still have it?
Yeah, and
Forever.
then
Just
And-
forever car.
but then
Forever.
here's
It's
the
at the house, though, not at the shop.
No, it's at the shop. But the wild thing is, so you guys know 72s have an oil flap.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this car was built in March of 71. The oil flap panel didn't exist.
Oh wow. So does it still have the what was it? The tank in front of the axle, or is it in the old
Yes.
spot?
So it has the correct tank. They moved it forward, but the actual panel itself hadn't been created.
So how do you fill it?
How do you
You fill it just like you do a normal
Oh wow.
you know, a
But
normal
prototype, it probably has a
Yeah.
real long.
So it's a prototype. Who owned it? So they always give it to executives or.
It's
R&D.
true. It came through. Oh boy, I'm sorry. What's his name up in Pennsylvania? The dealership.
Anyways, go ahead.
Anyway, real
Mainline?
famous. No, real famous
Something, yeah.
dealership up
Holbert?
in. Yeah. It came through the Holbert dealer, and
Called Porsche Warrington now.
supposedly the story goes that they gave it to Al. They said you can use it as a race car, and he sold it.
Instead of using it as
Yeah.
a
And so it went out there. I found it through various different connections, but then Derek Bell stepped in, and I said, Derek, can you help me with any knowledge on this car? And so the guy that was running the historical side of Porsche, literally wrote a note and said, yeah, this is a very special car. Wow. But I've heard other stories that I can't confirm, that it was sort of the test prototype for the 2.7 RS, but I can't confirm that because it's got lots of weird stuff, like one battery, blockout plate,
Yeah.
oil lines that run through the body instead of outside the body because it was 71. Like its clutch it's the activation, the pedal cluster's all jimmied up because it was a 915 gearbox instead of 901. So
We saw the 73 RS when the video we did, prototype.
But the
That was cool.
cowhide with cow hair.
Not only
for
that, but it
seats.
was the 74 seats they were trying out.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So it had the high back seats that, and some other little things that they were trying out.
CIS on the engine.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
That's
right.
Oh, neat.
Mechanical. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and again, if you say prototype, that's very specific. I'm calling mine a prototype. Porsche never came out and said, hey, this is our prototype.
Yeah.
But they did confirm a whole bunch of things. And so, it's the very first Viper green car.
To them, it was like a test mule, right? Trying different things for
Yeah.
the upcoming
Yeah.
model.
And the story is that's why they gave it to Al. Because, hey, we're not going to sell this thing, but you can use it as a race car.
And Porsche didn't throw stuff away, so they could have had the bodies they were ready to transfer over to the right side oil filler. Mm-hmm. So they were still using those bodies.
Oh, and remember, it's March of 71. I mean, the 72 didn't even come out until July.
Wow.
It tells me, or makes me think that, yes, definitely prototype is no oil filler flap, but the tank is still there. So
Yeah, everything's moved forward.
that wouldn't have happened in any sort of production scenario, I don't think.
I don't know. Remember, Porsche wasn't like they are now. Back then, they were using a lot of stuff that, to them, they didn't care about the history, whether or not this is correct. If they had the parts to use, that's what makes 356 so hard because, mid-production, they don't make an announcement. They just start using another part.
Sure.
It's better if it's more improved. So it's that's fascinating history. I don't think I've seen this car. Or have I walked by it not being
I
attention?
think we've walked by
Probably.
thinking it was a customer's car, and we didn't say, and you didn't say anything.
No,
about
I
it,
don't sell you.
Yeah.
All right, so what's the other car?
Yeah.
Which other car? Oh,
No, the
my
other forever
my
car.
73E.
Okay.
The one that
so
won.
Is that the one you brought the carbon cost?
Yeah.
That's the white one.
Light Ivory.
Light
yeah.
ivory. Yeah, that one we've seen before.
Yeah, that one.
one is a very nice car.
It won Porsche National Preservation. So.
That's not the one that Bruce Alari had, though, right?
No. Nope. But those two I kept.
So 2 long hoods are your forever car.
Let me guess, the 53 is your new one.
I sure am enjoying that car. It's interesting what you can do with 55 horsepower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but now I don't want to sell anything. How's that, Manny?
Man after my own heart.
Right.
Did the guy with the, I think his name's Rob, he had a 64C that belonged to his father, silver
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Did you talk to him?
Yep. Yeah.
Did he tell you what the original color of that car was?
Yes.
So this brings
Good
back to
Lord.
the Viper Green thing.
Yeah.
That car's original color was sky blue.
What?
Super
Beautiful
rare.
color.
Why would
But because people get tired of colors,
Yeah.
and they switched over, he wanted it silver.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I told him, I said, listen, it's a pretty good car. I mean, well above average.
Yeah.
But the ace in the hole is its original color.
Yeah.
I mean, what that car is really worth, because somebody's going to spend 25 grand putting it back to.
A little palpitation when he told me it was sky blue.
I know.
What?
Whoa.
Yeah. Super rare. Yeah.
Wow.
And his dad owned it. A very beautiful car.
One family owned car.
Has some rust on the doors, but
Just a
the rest
little
of it
bit.
looks
What
great.
year? What year?
64.
Freaking
Beautiful.
frick.
Yeah, everyone thought it was Bob's.
Yeah.
Because they're used to Bob rigging a 53, and I guess people don't know the difference in 56s. We're looking around last weekend and saying, "Where's Bob at? His car's here." I'm like, "That's not his car."
Wow.
Yeah. The difference between a Pre-A and a C, it's a little
Whole
bit.
generation.
Yeah.
So Manny's forever car is definitely the 73.
914. Yeah.
914. Yeah.
Fu, do you have a forever car?
I definitely have. Yeah, all of my cars are
The
forever
914?
cars. Yeah.
Are they like
You mean
nice
that's
forever?
That's going to be forever in pieces.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not what we mean.
But I would say that my forever Porsche is certainly my turbo look cab. That car. Not only is it I think it's a cool car.
Was that the one at Cars and Coffee?
Yeah, yeah.
The one with the license plate that says 1 of 16?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He's one of those guys who
Yeah.
he breaks it down into
Right.
it's 1 of 16 with a cabriolet top and these side skirts
By the
Right.
middle-aged
and this
Asian
color.
guy.
Exactly.
But they actually made like 2,000
Oh, okay.
or whatever it is.
It's 16.
Okay.
But
Somebody asked me what that meant. So how do you know they only made 16?
because that's what was published by Porsche.
So it is actually
Where was
16.
Where was it published, though? On a Porsche document, or was it somebody wrote an article?
No, it was in a Porsche document.
So it's just 16 turbo look cabriolet.
Turbo look cabs in
any
80,
color,
in
any
87.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know how many of mine is?
But I think the difference is
Out of
though.
102,000.
Yeah, I was going to say. No, that's not true, because yours is a 2-liter.
All right, so
But I think it's
30,000.
1 of 16, but I think it's U.S. because it was published by Porsche Cars North America, and they didn't consider because in Europe they were called super sports, I believe, the M491 cars, and they made more.
You got me.
Over there.
Again, you know I'm not a cab guy.
Really? Yeah. They called it SS in Europe?
In Europe they call it super sports. Yeah.
Oh my.
Oh, my.
Wow, that just doesn't
I don't.
seem right.
I don't think they abbreviated it, Manny. I didn't.
I don't think
about
they
that
thought
until
about
now.
that very
Like
much.
Chevy, the SS
Right.
stands
The
for
Cobalt.
Super Sport, right?
Super sport. Yeah.
And like a Chevelle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought Germans can never use that.
Yeah, the moniker
That's
that doesn't work well.
Definitely my forever car. That changed my life. Just getting. I came very close to buying a vintage Speedster.
Not a real one.
Yeah, you're not a real one.
Like you tried
real
to play that
so-
off.
so-
a real replica. So
A real fake
So,
one.
so a year
Okay.
before I bought my car, or 2 years before my car, I went to Hawaiian Gardens and went to where they build these vintage speedsters, and they're beautiful, and you could customize them, and I think at the time it was like $30,000, and it's a brand new car, brand new, everything. And I went, I sat, I test drove, I did my build sheet and everything like that because I was out there
Oh, my gosh.
visiting my mom.
You got this close.
And I came home and I had the build sheet and I'm like talking to Loanne and I'm thinking about it and I'm like, I just don't know if I could drive a replica. Like I couldn't wrap my head around it. So I dragged my feet on it, and thankfully my friend found the turbo look
Mhm.
and I got into the turbo look, and honestly I was originally kind of disappointed because I always wanted turbo and I didn't even know a turbo look existed.
Right.
But when I showed Loanne the photos of the turbo look, she was like, "Oh, that's cool. It's a convertible." I took that as a green light. I'm like, "Go, go!"
Right.
But that car is really what got me into the club, and then got me. I got the magazines and
That
learned
was-
about the job. I mean, that was the fork in the road, and my life really would have been very different.
One small decision.
One
you
small
would have been executive director of Shady Acres Retirement.
I know.
Can you imagine if you bought that replica?
I know.
Oh man.
You
Sounds
would
like
be that guy. Who,
Yeah.
This sounds like a Friends episode. Now we go down like the path. Would we even know,
Yeah.
Vu?
Yeah,
Like,
you probably you'd be like, "Oh, here's that dude with the replica."
right.
And-
Oh, man. He shows up
I
at
still
Cars and
love them.
Coffee all the
I
time.
still see them, and I'm like, for someone that can't afford a real speedster, they're such a cool car, and you can park it anywhere and not be stressed
But
about
here's
it.
where
All right,
I
all right,
call
so-
time out, because if you really want to, you can buy a 356 coupe and get a much better drive. I would say if you're going to spend the money for a replica, because they're not cheap,
Yeah, now
Not anymore.
now-
just
yeah,
buy
not
a
anymore.
coupe, 356B,
Yeah.
and the drive is so much better.
All right, so here's a question for you guys, because you saw it up there. I'll leave him nameless. A guy shows up with basically a created car,
Oh, okay. I know.
okay.
I know where you're going. with this.
and
Uh-huh.
it does have a Porsche badge. It started with a Porsche chassis, but it is no longer basically what it was.
Yeah.
Is that a real Porsche?
that the one to be in?
No.
No,
It's
not
a
quite.
very expensive car.
Yeah.
That is blue.
It's
that you
it's an
never ever-
Emery car.
Yeah.
And listen, Rod does a great job. He's amazing. Is that a real Porsche?
Oh yeah, I without a doubt.
I consider any Porsche that started, any car that started life as a Porsche, even if it doesn't have a Porsche engine anymore. I still call that a Porsche.
It's pretty close to a Porsche engine. It's not like a Subaru engine. Or,
Well, it is. I mean, it's a 993 cut down to
Yeah, but
2/3.
If
if we
it
cut
was,
you in half, you're still Bob Miller.
I say
It depends which half.
If it was birth, if it was birth as a Porsche,
Okay.
and even though it's modified, I still consider it.
No, that's definitely a Porsche.
I mean, if you LS swap the 996 like many people do,
So is that a
still
Porsche?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's still
That's
a
where
Porsche.
it becomes kind of.
It might become murkier for some people, but like
still a
for me, I'm still calling that a
It's,
Porsche.
it's part of what makes it a Porsche is the engine.
I know, but it was still born as a Porsche. It's just got a different heart.
Yeah, that's how I
Pretty
see it,
big
at least.
deal. When
yeah,
you
it
figure
is.
out
So-
when automobiles first
So
started,
there was
coach
there was
builders.
I think it was an LS swapped. I know it was an LS swap. The green 996 or 997. Maybe it was a 997. 997 that was at Cars and Coffee. I think Chavez is the local shop that does these conversions.
Chavis. He's not Hispanic. It's Chavis.
Oh, Chavis.
I believe it's Chavis.
Oh, okay. Anyways, it's incredible how much room is in that Bay Area with that LS.
Mm-hmm.
I almost would say in some parts of that engine bay, there was more room to put my hands to get to things than a standard 997 motor. It's
But
pretty
did you
neat.
notice how much higher the weight is because it's not a flat six? Yes.
You mean the center of gravity?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh yeah.
You'd have to do it. You'd have to
I'd have
test
to compare because it didn't seem that high to me, and it also is an all aluminum motor, and
Honestly, LSs are lighter weight than the flat sixes of those
Yeah.
eras, so it might negate
now
that.
the only thing I did notice was just looking around. It wasn't as tidy as obviously as a factory installed engine, and I wanted to meet the owner because I wanted to learn like what did you have to give up, right? There's always pluses. Obviously, I think when you do that, it's like, do you pay a crazy price for a spec 997 motor, or do you do an LS swap because it's cheaper? You get quote unquote more horsepower. Maybe it's the same price, but you get more horsepower.
I think
But-
it's cheaper for the guys that have massive bore scoring. So
I don't
to
know that-
rebuild that
I don't know-
996,
I don't know that it's cheaper. I just think they go, if I'm going to spend that kind of money, I want 450 horsepower and V8 power.
Oh, I see.
Like I don't
That
think
could
it's
be.
I don't think it's
You just have to
necessarily
figure out the emissions because it won't pass emissions.
Well, yeah.
Well,
I
it
know.
depends on the
Yeah.
state.
No,
because it's-
I talked to I went to where he does it
Yeah.
out of his garage, and because I thought maybe this would be a great video,
Yeah.
and I asked him
It's not
about
emissions
emissions. He
legal.
said no. He told me
Yeah.
it won't pass, and I thought, well, we can't do a video on a car that's
And then what do you do?
as an alternative.
Yeah.
To,
So then what do you do?
well, wait a minute.
rebuilding.
Once it's 20 years,
Yeah. Well, here in Maryland, actually, in Maryland, a 996 would actually be
'Cause-
just fine with the.
yeah,
So it
because
would
it's
have to be
historic.
Historic. yeah.
So no emissions.
But in some places, California,
You would
never,
still have
it
to.
would
It
never,
would
never pass.
But like, do all the gauges work? How does the AC work? That's the kind of like I unfortunately the owner was walking around, so I didn't get to.
I think people think that it's a turnkey, and I don't think it's a turnkey.
A 996 with an LS swap is probably cheaper than an M96 or M97 rebuild, unless you want an LS swap with AC, and the engine mounts look nice, good welds, primed and painted.
Yeah, there's no disagreement
stuff
about
like
that.
that.
Yeah, that's why people go with LS because it's. I mean,
Yeah.
it's cheaper. The engines. It's a great program. That's what
Yeah.
Rob wrote. We talked about last week. Chevy does a great program.
What's a
engine.
crate engine from Chevy? How much is that?
I want to say 5,000 to 10,000.
Oh my God! It's
Yeah.
got to be cheaper.
I mean, you can probably get cheaper.
No, what I mean is,
Oh, it's
so we
definitely
just
cheaper.
finished an M96. Now he bumped it from a 3.6 to a 3.8, so there was a lot of machining. That was $35,000.
Yeah. Yeah, no, an LS, you can find a good, powerful LS crate motor for $10,000.
Unbelievable! It's got to
Yeah.
be cheaper.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean that's.
But then what do you give up though? And I mean, I get the dollars and cents, but what doesn't plug in? What gauge doesn't work? What do you live with that you have to go? Okay, I don't have this because I saved 10 grand. Like I get it.
5.3 liter LS V8, $2,800. That would That's
my
my
Is that a brand
Suburban.
new one?
God.
That's my Suburban engine.
That's incredible.
Okay, yeah. So it depends again. If you
Yeah.
if you want like a Suburban engine, yeah, you can get it for less than 5.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's
it's
a
super
5.3
cheap.
liter LS V8.
But it's not brand new. I'm talking about a brand new
Yeah,
crate
brand
engine.
new,
Well, that's where
10
it's
grand
manufactured.
ish. Let's
That-
see. You know,
For how
Chevy.
much? Unbelievable. That's incredible.
I don't know if that's like a shady motors place,
Yeah.
but even a blueprinted engine, 10,000.
It's unbelievable. I mean, that was the machining, quite literally, on the M96.
Yeah, well, we were racing. We would talk to people,
Yeah.
guys with Corvettes and stuff, and you hear what the prices are. They pay for like brakes and stuff, and you like
It's incredible.
it's cringy because how much we're paying for the Porsche tax.
Yeah.
But that's
Well, and so they replace their calipers 4 times a season, but their calipers are $230 each.
Right.
And we run the same calipers, but our calipers are $2,000. So
I'm here at GM Performance Motor, and if you wanted an LT4 model year 2022 with 650 horsepower and 650 foot-pounds of torque, 18 grand.
still 18.
So that's like top of the line LT4, like brand new.
yeah. You're not going to get that with a
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
M96, M90.
I think that's what Rob was getting in his article was, man, it would be great if Porsche could deliver crate engines like that at reasonable price. I mean, we know it would be more expensive than a Chevrolet engine, but man, if you could get us closer to it, then the longevity of the 996 platforms, 997s, or even newer engines are just going to be that much better options for us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for now, it's pretty expensive to rebuild stuff.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
And what worries me is that I think people are still under the impression that if their IMS hasn't gone up, it never will.
No, that's
Yeah,
wrong.
That's
And
wrong.
It's a bearing. It
Yeah.
just wears out. But there's so many people who say, I've got 130,000 miles. I passed the period where it can go bad.
There's a bell curve. You and I have talked about this. And so if you get to roughly, don't hold me to this, if you get to roughly 50,000 miles, you've passed the initial part of the bell curve. And so you're now generally not going to run into anything until you get to the other end of the bell curve, which is where the bearing wears out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's just a bearing.
Yeah.
So
Everything wears
if you
out.
get to 100,000 miles, she's in the wear
Yeah.
zone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, just to remind people why it's so important to treat the bearing as a wear item is, whether it's a single row or double row bearing in your car, as it turns, it's shedding off little pieces of metal. And also, why those double rows lasted longer is because they're shedding more metal for longer because they have more support with 2 rows. So yeah, wear item for sure.
So here's the thing. People ask me why I took the motor out of my car. I had
Good job, by the way.
Thank you.
That was
Thank you.
impressive.
I feel very fortunate, and I have more to that story.
Yeah.
He says an oil leak, though.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Tiny,
One drop.
Not even a drop. It's like it forms.
Maybe that's called seeping.
It's like the Virgin Mary weeping. He looks at it every day.
I do look at it. I'm like, are you gonna weep today?
Says a little prayer in front of it.
Yeah. Thankfully,
Oh, good
the
God.
garage floor has no signs of it dripping. But so people fixate on the IMS bearing, which I get, right? But the reason why people ask me, why'd you take all your engine out and do all that stuff? Because I was more concerned about the chain guides, the ramps, because those are like plastic, polycarbonate, whatever they make. And I've seen those when they've completely disintegrated and just got thrown into the engine. And as I got closer to 100,000 miles, like I know that is what is going to go bad. It's just time, heat, energy. It's going to go bad. And if you're going to do that, you might as well go through and do everything. So what I tell people is, I know you've probably gone through where you think is the phase of where your bearing is going to fail. But once you get to 100,000 miles, engine has a lot of wear components. You want to save, sort of a side pot of money to kind of go through it.
Keep it going.
If you're going to keep it going. If
Yeah.
not, you're going to sell the car and then, you don't worry about it. But there's a lot of wear items on an engine like that.
I agree.
And my wear pads, when we took it out, it was definitely, the center of the chain was rubbing. So that's how much it had dumped
Wow.
down.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we just, I
So
would say just
what's
got
the
it.
upgrade? Is there a better?
Yeah, so the
is there a
newer ones
better
are,
ramp?
the ramp is a different plastic now. So
Okay.
I hope that I hope that it's just going to be the last
Post-pandemic plastic. So much
That
PPP, right?
That hope is where he goes in front of the weeping engine and says a prayer every day.
Right.
one. Yeah, but I did put some miles on it this weekend, and so nice, so
Excellent.
does it feel nicer?
nice. Everything is smooth.
Yeah.
Everything
Did your water
is-
pump?
I had recently done the water pump, but then I resealed it just
Yeah.
because everything
Because I had
fell
a leak,
apart.
too.
Yeah, so
Bronze impeller?
Ooh.
Or did you go with the plastic?
I went with the plastic.
Oh, my. Really?
Yes, because I don't want the bronze to wobble and dig into my
It's
case.
frowned upon now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I see.
yeah. So, yeah, all good. I've seen there's other people
Balance flywheel too.
Oh.
balance,
yeah,
flywheel,
balance.
Really?
new clutch,
Okay.
new oil air separator,
Ah,
And best
oil
of all,
fill tube.
a working anti-roll bar in the rear. You didn't know
Really,
that
you
one?
had to call me out on that?
you mean he left it off last time?
No,
He didn't
Pretty
know.
much.
He didn't know it was disconnected.
It-
So
it
he
was
was
not
adjusting his driving style.
It was not disconnected.
It was broken off. It was disconnected.
Disconnected means I took it apart. It actually the
okay.
bolt sheared. And
It's a harsh crowd, I'll tell you.
The bolt sheared, and I did not know my
now
sway
that
bar.
river-
The funny
Egypt.
part is that he kept getting faster, and you thought that the car handled great, but then
wondering
people
why
were
his
telling
wheels
him
lifting
your
in the
front
air."
wheel.
Yeah, it's going to be nice and soft in the back.
It
Under
was
load.
Under load. and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it around,
Oh, okay.
but I fixed it.
All right.
I fixed it.
Are you faster now with the?
I have an autocross. I'm still.
All right.
We have this theory now that he's adjusted himself to driving
Yeah. With the no
with the
rear-
broken,
rear sway bar.
Now he's going to throw it into the corner, and
Oh yeah.
and he's going to get like a
Loop it.
worse.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? But how about is your Cayman your forever car, or is just
yeah. I mean, I have a Cayman, a Mazda 3, and an old Camry, so I'd have to say out of the 3 cars I own, that is the only one I plan to keep forever. And I think I will, like, I don't see myself getting rid of it. In fact, that could be my only Porsche, unless it's, I get something that's like a cheap project or something.
Yeah.
If there is any such thing.
that's much time and energy? It's like it's Damon, not only a Cayman, it's Damon's Cayman. Like
It
that
is.
car will always be
Yeah.
Damon's Cayman.
Yeah.
Unless a new Cayman comes along, it just
I mean,
sings its song to you.
So I said in my video that I'd take a 718 Cayman over my own if presented with that, but that's only if I didn't own either. Already owning my car and the stuff I've done to it and modifications, and I've become a better driver, and I feel like I've kept pace with the car. I lag slightly behind it. The car is always like a little bit better than what I can extract out of it. But as I've driven it, autocrossed it, modified it, the car is getting better, I'm getting faster, and I can already tell that I'm still, wouldn't say nowhere near, but I'm not really close to extracting all the performance yet. It's only got 250 horsepower, and yeah, I love that thing.
That's a great chassis. Then
Yeah.
it's always staying ahead of you.
Yeah, every time I drive it, or let's say every year of autocross, I like the car more, so that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can see how people get tired of cars, but I think we're fortunate that we've landed in cars where every time we drive it, it puts a smile to our face.
I learned something new.
Yeah, like when I drove my 996 and when I drove the Turbo, Turbo has 215 horsepower, 220 horsepour, but on 95 and
It's like
695, it was still so much fun to drive. I had a smile on my face all the way to Hunt Valley and back.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I mean,
It is.
a lot of people, and some of them really fast, but a lot of people drive a car a year or two, then they get tired of it, and they move on to the next, usually faster, or perhaps a different brand sometimes. And
Now, would you call that a flipper, or would you call that just somebody that gets bored?
somebody who gets bored, yeah, in this sense, because we know, well, Danny Ko, a local guy, he has a 911 GTS now. He had a Miata, ND2 Miata recently that he just sold, campaigned for a year. He had an NC turbocharged Miata that he built and campaigned, then he sold. And before then, I think a Honda Civic. So, and he's not a flipper, and he sells within the autocross community, funny enough. But yeah, he's just always on to the next. Yeah, and that's the sort of driver that I.
He enjoys the drive, but once he's built it up to what he thinks is kind of like the limit, then someone else really likes the car, and he's like, okay, you take that one, and then I'll start on the next one.
Yeah.
But he just recently got a A86, right?
I think I heard that.
GR
yeah.
86.
Yeah.
So that's the next one that he's building.
All right, so if we have our forever cars, and this can be hypothetical, but make it real, what's your next car? And I'll start. And Vu knows this. I am actively looking for a very, very, very original 356A, and having a heck of a time finding one. But if I can afford it, that would probably be my next car.
Well, you know I'm a 356 guy, but I am a Impala bank account guy.
So he's not. He can get a Ford 56. He just wants an Impala.
I do. I want
Well,
both. I
so-
want both.
So are you saying your next car is on the
That is,
PCA podcast in Impala?
If his wife doesn't kill him, yes, he would get an Impala.
my.
He wouldn't think twice about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't think twice about it. Absolutely.
And what's an Impala cost?
You can get one,
Put an
I mean, a really, really good
a
one.
really good one. And I'm not all like, I don't need it to be all original or anything like that, but like a solid driver car.
It's a Dr. Dre edition.
Yeah, you're looking top level.
When you're only yeah.
top level like 40.
If he
40,
could find him one
40
in the Dr. Dre video,
40
he
to
would buy it
50.
like that.
Oh yeah, if it was in a hip hop video,
Oh,
yeah.
my God.
Yeah.
You see the Forever Turbo look for sale.
yeah.
No.
Okay, and what would you give? What would you give up to get this Impala?
Oh, there's nothing to give up, sir.
You wouldn't give
We
up
just want to
anything,
add to the collection. That's my problem. It's like
What do you? I mean,
that-
where are all these doggone
that's
cars?
my problem. People are very good with consolidating, selling things to get new things, but I get attached to stuff, and maybe it's the
Do you name them?
most of them have names.
Okay.
Yes, but
What's your turbo looks? What's its name?
Martin.
Martin.
What?
Martin, yeah.
I've never.
How come?
Have you heard
Never
this,
heard,
Manny?
no.
Never heard that?
No, I didn't realize you named
why?
the cars.
Why?
Give
Why
me,
Martin?
Give me your man card right now.
he's embarrassed. That's why.
You know why?
Why Martin?
Because I had a dream.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, for real.
I thought he meant Martin Lawrence.
Yeah, no. It was always my dream, right? So I call it Martin.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I name most of mine too. Either that or the girls.
Yeah, I've never gotten into naming my cars.
Yeah.
Manny, what about you? What's your next?
My next?
Your
It's
next?
probably going to be a daily driver.
I see him in a Cayman.
a Cayman.
I see him in a Cayman.
Or a
I'd
Boxster.
love
I
to
think
find
you
a
were saying.
point two,
Yeah.
What's wrong with the .1?
what we just talked about.
He doesn't want to have to worry
Yeah.
about.
We'll get a 2.7.
The Cayman S. I mean,
Nope.
they're great cars.
I want a point two. I'll take a revised engine altogether.
Okay.
I know it's only 1%, but I already have a 1% car.
Yeah.
My Boxster S. I'd rather yeah, the Cayman would be great. I mean, I have a convertible I drive every day. But what I love about my convertible is that it's a manual top. I don't have to worry about gears or motors or anything. I just 2 latches and chuck it in the back.
Well, based on the condition, you actually don't even have to worry about a top.
Yeah, right.
I'm not sure that thing's doing anything.
It's original. It's an
Actually, I have
original
to say,
top.
I rode in the car on a rainy day, and it did not leak.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, the
It
duct
has
tape.
It mechanically,
Crazy.
it runs great.
Yeah.
Everything runs fine on
Yeah,
it.
it just looks like it doesn't. So
It has the I don't care about this car look. Try me.
Right.
People don't
right.
cut me off.
Right.
Because they know I don't care about the car. I park it anywhere I want.
Good God.
I don't have to worry about anybody door dinging. It's like, really? I mean, look at the side of the car. It has a lot of doors.
So if there isn't anything scarier than a dented Camry speeding up right behind you, it's a BMW Z3 with the front splitter duct taped together. So
And that's Manny.
Flapping in the wind.
Right.
Flapping in the wind.
Right. With,
Almost
like,
it's
get the
talking-
heck over.
Blinking
Like,
his high beams, right?
I didn't realize that evidently somewhere where it got damaged because my brother, who's the original owner, my father's second owner, then my son, the third owner, all of them hit deers with this car.
Oh, my God.
wow.
And I think somewhere along the lines, there's more. I need more grill stuff in the front because there's just the opening and
just
then
an
the
overall.
radiator.
Huh.
But evidently, there's more grill stuff that goes inside. That somewhere along the line
lost it.
wasn't put back.
You know the
I saw
best-
I saw another Z3, and I'm like, wow,
Boy, that
I had
doesn't
missed
look
a
like
lot
mine.
of stuff out of my car.
The best part is when he sells this thing later, it's gonna be a one family owned.
Right,
Z3.
right.
Yeah.
You can just see the ad, right?
One family owned.
Right. All books and records.
007 special model.
I have a lot of confidence because the car has 260,000, I think, on it.
That's incredible.
And I've got 3 more oil filters I bought. So,
You do have confidence.
How long he has.
that, granted, they only cost $5 each, but I took the chance.
Why? I mean, why get rid of it then?
Well, that's the problem. I'm waiting for it to die.
Well, it's not going
But
to
in
die.
between, I'll get a.
Honestly, your Z3, that would be a perfect cheap project car for somebody when you're ready to
They are
AKA Damon's like, when you're done with it, I'd like to have it.
honestly.
they are such a deal. They're really cheap. I mean, you feel it. It's a whole different car than a Boxster. From the door, you open the door up, and the door feels flimsy compared to
Oh, yeah.
a
Right.
Boxster, like a 986. It's a whole different animal. But at the time, it cost a lot differently than a Boxster. I think a Boxster was like maybe 10,000 more at the time.
Wow.
It was
Z3s
Okay.
were pretty
substantially-
cheap, yeah.
Yeah, it was substantially more. But for what you can get them now, it's a nice alternative to a Miata. If you don't want to be seen in what everyone else is driving. It's a nice commuter. That's why I started driving it, because I got 30 miles per gallon. It's only
that's
the
amazing.
4-cylinder. I do a lot of shifting, but I don't.
What? What was that?
If you say
Amazing.
a word,
Say amazing.
Oh,
So
I
if you
can't say
amazing,
that.
Boom.
No, you can say it.
We'll just
It's
ring.
got to be worthwhile.
Oh, okay. I think that was a good amazing.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
it's pretty far into the podcast, so it's not like you've been
You
saying.
probably already said it, to be honest.
Oh.
All right. So for those of you that are listening or watching on YouTube, if you have a forever car, we would love to see your comments of what your forever car is, and then what you're considering to be your possibly an additional next forever car. So with that, I want to remind you to, if you're enjoying the episode, hit the like button, comment with your forever car, your future one, and of course subscribe and help us get close to that 100,000 subscriber mark. You want to get into the news? All good?
Yeah.
All right. So
I
the
was
first,
going to ask Bob about. There's this 2000 Boxster S in the mart, 187,000 miles,
Right.
and I thought, not for me, but I was thinking if somebody looks at the 6,000, that's pretty cheap, and it looks pretty good, and I think the owner is pretty honest, says needs a new clutch, but the paint shines, but it has a share of nicks and dings and road rash, which you would imagine this kind of mileage. Front fender has medium-sized dent. Rear fender has a long scratch. Interior has wear and tear to the soft-touch plastic. Steering wheel and shifters show their age. Seats were replaced 130,000, so they work pretty good. Convertible top. Motors work flawlessly. Rear windows starting to leak, and those rear windows do not zip out, so you got to buy a whole new top. But that's $6,000 or $7,000. So they had another one here for like an 06 for $20,000. Now the 06 would have had the still the M97 motor, but it goes to 1% failure rate.
Is it a 2.7 or an S?
I think it's a 2.7. I think it's a base
Yeah,
model.
that thing will never
That
fail.
that came in was
There
the
you go,
S
you heard it
or
from
that
Damon.
Boxster.
It'll never fail.
Well, I shouldn't say never, but yeah.
49,000 miles, $20,000.
yeah.
Looks really really good.
I mean, I hate to say it, so
So can you get the 2000 Boxster S up to snuff with that $13,000 Delta?
you could, but it looks like it's never going to be the other car.
Yeah. I would
And
say.
I always tell a lot of people, most of the time, the more expensive car is the better buy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I
because
ran into.
You don't have to do anything.
Right.
It's still a great car. It's ready to go. And the other car, you can't get up to its level.
Right. Right.
And you're
I
going to
mean,
spend,
You'll spend at least that.
yeah, let's say by the end, you've spent 15, 20
Yeah.
on a $6,000 986.
So you need new clutch, IMS, new top. You need all the stuff inside fixed.
By then, you're going to think, why didn't I just buy the 987?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what. We had another Cars and Coffee on Sunday with Rich, and we were talking about different cars. We're looking at, and he goes with the same thing. Well, I'd usually buy them cheap, and I fix them myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say I like to buy them already done,
Yeah.
because in my eyes, you're going to get it a lot cheaper. It's like race cars.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to do one thing over again, I probably would have saved money and just bought a built race car. Instead of
Absolutely.
building it myself, but that's the stuff you learn along the way because you think, well, it's only going to cost me this because I built my race car over maybe 4 years. But if you just buy it already built, you'll save a lot of money.
Well,
there
and then,
there are exceptions though, because
Like
once in a
what?
while you come across like a crazy, ridiculous deal.
Oh.
And if you are a DIYer, that you can bring a car back to an acceptable level. So, like,
I was going to say that $6,000 Boxer, if you DIY it yourself and buy like good parts, that's probably a $12,000 car.
correct.
If you do it yourself.
But I would, for me, that wouldn't be quote unquote worth it yet because of the cosmetic issues that you can't really DIY, like bad paint,
Yeah.
dents, and stuff like that. Like that's pretty costly.
Like Rich does a lot of his work himself,
he does, yeah.
so that does factor into making it more.
Well, and then
affordable.
he actually does it well,
Yeah.
which is unusual. Because
Wow, if he
DIY,
listens to this podcast, he's going to be proud. That
Yeah.
Miller.
well, and if you think about most of the guys that work on their cars, oh yeah, I did it myself, and you're standing 20 feet away going, yeah, I can tell. But Rich,
Leaks the oil. And
yeah,
stuff.
Rich isn't.
Yeah.
And so he's a great guy to buy a quote unquote project.
There are exceptions.
Yeah.
And if you have the time and the energy and the talent,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah, because
Like,
that's pretty cheap.
Lowen's Boxer is one that just comes to my mind. Like there are exceptions where that car
Yeah.
is.
But that car was already done, though.
Every once
No.
in a while,
the motor was done, but like interior,
So
exterior.
you did it. You were a DIYer and you fixed the top, right?
I did. I made it an RS top.
Okay.
Which you love because now it's just
lightweight manual.
a latch and it goes down right away.
It's a Miata top.
So you couldn't figure it out. You said, to hell with it. I'm going to take all the motors out.
No, because
Well, it's an RS too because there's a lot of parts left over whenever he does something. So it gets later and later,
Later and later.
every job.
Good God. I wonder what this is for. Oh, well.
just to put it in a
runs
box.
fine.
Put it in a box. It works. Yeah. All right, let's get into the news.
So I did want to say
Yeah.
my car next, if I had my choice, would be an RX-8 project car.
Really?
RX-8.
Super cheap because you can find those things for almost nothing because they've been abused and
Yeah.
nobody knows how
I was about to say,
actually
where
work
do you
them.
even find a good RX-8? They all
Facebook Marketplace or
They
something.
get
You don't find a
abused.
good one,
Yeah.
but I would like to buy one $4,000, $5,000,
Remember
still
you see
running.
them all the time in Motorola Cup?
What's that? The RX-8?
Oh yeah.
They're
big,
super
big race car.
They're great cars.
They are so freaking loud when they're on
Yeah.
full tilt.
Yeah,
That's the
and they
loudest
handle
car.
so well, but they're so cheap because they're misunderstood.
Yeah.
And because of the whole rotary, pre-mixing maybe for some track scenarios, or, there's certain things that make sure that the, that the fuel is also getting its lubrication, the oil that the apex seals.
Yeah.
It had an unusual look too compared to the RX-7
Yeah.
it replaced. I mean, the last gen RX-7 was just beautiful.
Yeah, I thought that was a very good looking car.
And then the RX-8 was
Right.
It was a 3-door or 4-door.
It's a four-door
Four-door.
with back seats and the suicide back doors.
That's what it was.
But it's purely like I've always liked the looks. I know it's a
Do
lever.
they call that a 4-door or is it a 2-door access door?
2+2, but
But you
it
know,
is.
GM didn't call it a door; they call it a side access panel for the trucks.
Right.
Then maybe that's what
Because
it is.
there's like a whole different safety regulation
it's a
if you
door.
call it a door, so they call it a side access panel.
And there's no B pillar, so
I wonder if that'd be maybe someone who knows about RX-7s can
Yeah.
Chime in.
I like the
but you buy it,
generation
and
just
C
before.
Miata is going to be like a $10,000 to $15,000 car, most likely in nice condition. Same chassis as the RX-8. Yet the RX-8 you can find all day for less than $5,000. It's just going to need some work.
I don't know. I'd have to learn the whole rotary world like that. I don't.
Well, that's what I wanna
don't
do.
know anything about rotary motors.
Neither do I.
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
one here at $8,000 for 62,000 original models.
Yeah.
Now, I hate to bring up something else, but I sort of see that transition from the 7 to the 8, same thing that killed Triumph from the 6 to the 7.
7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
the
it just was
RX-8
such a diversion from their look.
Yeah.
And
I love the look of the RX-8, but I know that I'm, not everybody. It's love it or hate it.
yeah, you're in a minority.
Yeah.
Well, I think perhaps maybe your generation grew up around an RX-8, so you like an RX-8 more, whereas we grew up with the earlier models, and we look at the RX-8 as a departure to what an RX should look like.
Yeah,
Sure.
right.
Well, and
no
I don't
turbocharger.
mind departing as long as it looks good.
Yeah.
Speaking of departing, there was one car I learned about. I've always wanted one, but I've never really considered it. But then I met someone that's selling one that's in like perfect condition, in my favorite color.
An Impala?
No. This goes back to my Vietnamese French heritage. And
Wait, what?
Wow.
the
You hear the sound of stretching it?
Good God.
So
Gonna be wearing a beret now.
so Kim Barnes.
Bonjour.
Kim Barnes showed up in the
Yeah.
beautiful Ruby Stone
beautiful.
968, but she also has a green Doshibo.
Yeah, see, if you came to Hunt Valley Cars and Coffee,
I've
you
never
would know
seen
that.
I didn't know that.
brings it, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, and it's for
That's one of your favorite
sale.
cars?
One of my favorite cars, in my favorite color, and I would love to have that, but I've got.
He's getting a collection of cars you cannot drive on the interstate.
That's what my wife
He's
said.
got 2 motorcycles,
3.
or 3. Well, 2 of them you can drive on the interstate. You choose.
Oh yeah.
But that other one, you're not bringing that on the
No,
interstate.
that's barely a moped.
What is it, a Honda 50 or?
A Honda Baby Dream.
Oh.
Yeah, the little thing that folds up like a suitcase.
Yeah.
No, I'm thinking about the
No, you're
little
talking about my
one.
classic, my 64.
Yeah.
My
Yeah,
64.
no, I'm not talking about a suitcase.
Oh, it's not
one.
the suitcase one.
No, this
No,
is like
it's
a
the
little
same
moped
one.
looking thing.
Okay.
It's pretty cool, but it's definitely not a highway car. The pickup truck is not a highway car.
The little baby one?
Yeah, my K
It's a
truck.
K car.
Yeah. Why are you calling me out? We're supposed to go into the news.
All right, news.
Let's go into the news. Let's congratulate Porsche on being top ranked. Let's start with that.
Again.
Again, yeah.
Good for
So
them.
this is I use JD Powers quite often as an example when members call up and they have a complaint with Porsche, and I would tell them, I will say, call up 1-800-Porsche. I said they're not going to blow you off. They're going to take your information and they're not going to crumple it up in the trash can. They actually log in your complaints and they have to have a resolution. It may not be the resolution you're looking for, but they will address every one of your complaints. And I said, and part of the reason is they want to maintain that JD Powers ranking, and a lot, and that's why the dealers are constantly saying, if we don't have a number 5, the best rating, let us know before you submit the survey, because that affects, I think, with the amount of cars they get, maybe money from marketing dollars from Porsche and whatnot. So, that's a pretty big deal that Porsche goes out of their way because they want to hold this JD Powers marketing survey, and they're going to do everything possible to make a Porsche customer happy. And that's why for so many times they'll do goodwill repairs on cars that are out of warranty, even though this one here is for the first 90 days. Initial, product satisfaction.
There's different categories, right?
Yeah, but they still have exactly different categories. And
Who else is in this upper level brand?
usually they go against Lexus.
Yeah.
Lexus and
Hyundai, I think, has been near the top before.
I mean, within this category, is it Mercedes, Lexus?
Believe it or not, I don't think Mercedes.
Mercedes is not that high up anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I know they're not high up, but are they in the category?
Oh, they're in the category.
This category?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a premium brand.
Brands,
Range Rover or something like that?
Would you love to be the Range Rover person?
No.
Most awarded brands of 2023. Porsche's not on it, funny enough. So they must have had the top spot, but not the most. I guess Kia, Chevy,
So
BMW.
a lot of times when they come out with a new model that year, they will lose it because there's all the teething problems and they get a lot of complaints with the cars, and that brings the ranking down.
Yeah, and that's 2023, not 24. So
Anyways, that was great to see them back on top.
Yeah. A few weeks ago, we talked about the significant drop in volume in China, and I think they brought in someone to take care of that.
Did we ever meet this gentleman? I
Yes,
think we have.
He's been to Parade.
Yeah, that's right. We
Yep.
met him. Yeah,
Yeah, he's been to Parade.
I remember when I was on the EC that the name sounded familiar. Polich, is that you think Polich?
Polik?
I'm going to say Polik,
Alexander Polich?
but I could be wrong.
He is going to be taking over on September 1st, the CEO of
China.
Porsche China.
Which
I
is
mean,
a
he
market
came out
they've
of
been
what?
hurting as of late. It's been bringing down their overall sales numbers. So
And he comes out of Canada and the UK.
Yep.
he was running Porsche Deutschland, and it's going to be going to the Chinese market, which was the largest market that seceded back to the U.S. So it'll be interesting to see what he does. He has a great reputation of working magic and sales. So
Yeah,
it'd be very.
there's two ways to look at it, right? You're going, man, this guy's taking on a very tough role.
Mm-hmm.
Or you look at it as this is quite an honor for him because the Chinese market, the U.S. market, if you get to be CEO of these markets, that's top honors in the Porsche world. So that's a luck to him.
Especially if he does well. I mean, the times are right. And hopefully, the new Macan, because they do a lot of, I think they do more SUVs than we do. So the four doors, if they take off, then he'll be sitting pretty.
The next one's really an opportunity for Bob because we know how flush with cash he is after all these cars he buys. Has to do with the 963s.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a few new drivers for his team.
Yeah, I can see an at speed sponsor 963 team going to Le Mans.
You know you look at these prototypes, and they even mention it. This is an 8-figure budget.
8.
Yeah, what a great deal, huh?
Yeah. I mean,
A little bit more than club racing.
these are massive dollars in this series, and of course, I mean, obviously a great chassis out of Porsche that they're working through, but huge dollars to run these series.
And it's going up.
Yeah, going
This
up.
article.
And so I'm going to ask a loaded question.
Sure.
How do you make money doing something like that?
We did it sort of differently. A lot of these teams are funded by somebody that wants to go racing. That's very, very wealthy. There are sponsorships that happen. We were so poor, we just went after pure sponsorship and then ended up getting a factory deal. And then when the factory wants to win, that's a good thing. But to give you a sense, I mean, we ran 2 prototypes, and my budget was about just over $2 million a year. And that meant creating the car, the engines, the transmission, suspension, and fielding the cars. So these guys are running an 8-figure. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I think that's a little bit of the barrier to entry with these these chassis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
What's interesting is it sounds like that crankshaft that we had talked about earlier that they decided to not use for Le Mans because they were doing so well. I guess they didn't want to jinx themselves. I thought for sure they were going to bring the crankshaft back since they couldn't beat the Ferraris, but now it looks like the whole crankshaft upgrade is dead. And they're not going to, which now, of course, has people, I'm sure they're wondering, why is it dead? Why it was going to give more power. Why aren't we using it? It's pretty. I mean, it looks like they're going to take the both the WEC and the IMSA championships. Well, but they didn't win they won Daytona, which is the big IMSA race, but they didn't win Le Mans, which is what they're really after. That's a crown jewel.
Yeah.
what do you guys think has been a bit of the change within the Porsche, focus in motorsports since Volkswagen took over as, the owner of the company? Do you guys see a big change philosophically, or
More customer racing, less top-level factory involvement? And when I say that, like 919 was world's more of a program.
I was going to say the opposite. It was more top level because when it was not Volkswagen owned, they weren't. That's when we were getting really desperate because there was a long gap from the GT1 to.
Well, I guess, 919 was VW owned, period. But post VW, like to me, like the 919 was, greatest of all time sort of car. And the why am I forgetting the name of the 963? I mean, obviously it's a spec-ish sort of chassis and class, right? So that's how I see it.
Well, they got to make money off the car. That's the whole purpose of the 963. They wanted to be like the 962, where eventually the customers are the ones racing it. And so the 918, which was just like Damon said, the greatest of all time, it wasn't made to be a customer car. No, it was just too complex. The hybrid system was all in-house, and you would the amount of money you would need to run a private team was just out of this world. But the 963 is designed from the beginning to be a customer car, and that's why they use a off-the-shelf hybrid system. So I'm sure Volkswagen at the time told them that we got to make money on this. It can't be just a free spending, because that will sink so many companies if they,
Sure.
go free spending on motorsports. But and it's tough. I mean, I salute them going after two different sanctioning bodies, even though they're both claiming that they're very similar, but there is a difference between WEC and IMSA. And one,
You mean from the standpoint of the chassis?
well, the cars,
Fitting in both?
like IMSA right now doesn't have the hypercars that WEC has, which the Ferrari is like a hypercar. They're using their own hybrid system, not an off the shelf. So it's
ground built by
shows,
Ferrari.
Yeah, it definitely shows. It's I think Porsche will get there with Le Mans. I think they've gone so far already with the 963. I mean, they're the only team that's selling customer cars. Everyone else said they were, but they're so far Porsche is the only one that has produced customer cars. So
Yeah, this article that we were looking at, though, says that they do need to find teams to buy those cars now that they're available. And Joda, this article says, looks like it's going to be moving its WEC program elsewhere. So I'm wondering what we'll see 963-wise in the
I
coming
think
year or two.
WEC has a much smaller field than IMSA.
So maybe they're
That's
just moving to
also too,
IMSA. Yeah.
And what's the two-car rule? Is that WEC? WEC?
I don't think you have to have just two cars. That's just
No.
Okay.
But I think that there's a limit, though, because they want to bring in other manufacturers
Right.
in, too, that want to come in and join. And which is, to me, a little bit dangerous when you have... It's great that you have all these manufacturers, but you don't want the manufacturer dictating the rules either.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think what the IMSA has done, I salute them. I don't know if it's their NASCAR ownership that has affected them, but every IMSA race is really exciting.
Yeah, BOP's different from WEC to IMSA.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's you watch all the way to the end. It's not like the old days of IMSA where the cars would have like a 30 lap
asleep,
lead,
yeah.
and no, it's like you're watching to the last lap. It's fun to watch.
So the next news item, honestly, I'm kind of surprised how they're continuing with these models. Because just if you read all the headlines of how people are so much more enamored with SUVs, they're continuing to bring out new models, and this has to do with the Panamera.
Did you get a press release on this, Damon?
I did. I got it last week.
I figured it was
and
after
I
E-Brake
was
came out.
busy, and there's no article yet, but there will be.
I mean, a
for
700
news.
combined horsepower
Yeah.
Panamera.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
This is the one that obviously broke the record. That at the time they hadn't announced what model it was,
Right.
but they are calling it the Turbo SE Hybrid. And
700 horsepower. It's just incredible. I mean, my mom has a Panamera. Can I see my mom in a 700 horsepower turbo hybrid? I mean, it's crazy.
top speed at 202 miles an hour.
Yeah, there's mom at 202.
Bob, you're
I mean, it's like, good Lord.
you're wrong. Actually, it's 771 horsepower.
Yeah, I know. I was saying it's even over that, but I mean, a 200 mile an hour streetcar.
Yeah,
It's unbelievable.
yeah, it is.
And they're coming back out with the GTS. They announced. And of course, the Aero kit. Pretty much everything that was on the car that broke the record. That was not specified which model exactly it was. They're formally announcing, so now you can go to your showroom, favorite Porsche showroom, and put an order for the same car that broke the record.
Yeah, that seems to tell me that probably no Panamera Turbo GT. That would be
Yes,
my guess.
that would have been cool if they would have.
Yeah.
They would have called it that, but
Oh, speaking of GT, a car that we will be seeing when we are going to be out at Monterey Car Week at the Broad Arrow Monterey auction, a very, very famous car.
Yeah, GT1.
Yes.
Yeah, Tony Callis, one of our tech experts, worked on this one, or was a crew chief, one of the two.
I thought he said
Pretty
crew
sure.
chief. But yeah, he's very, very familiar with this car, and he's done presentations on it. Yeah, so this would have been the second GT1. So they had a 96, 97, 98. Still based on the 993. It would be 98 when they go to a monocoque chassis. But this still had the front end of a 993.
And personally, I think one of the more beautiful race cars ever produced.
Yeah, so the 993 headlights. Too.
Yeah.
So someone buying this is collector and or going historic racing.
Probably yes and yes.
Yeah, I was going to say both.
And what's it estimated to be? Can you describe the car for people that are listening and not watching? The this particular one. It's the yellow with.
It's a Roar. It raced. You're familiar with it because it's a yellow one. It has. It was Roar Racing. It had the. What's that? Red, blue, green. Am I getting it right?
Red, blue, and green splotches.
Swatches
Squiggly
on
marks.
the side, yellow based.
Yeah, it's and as far as I know, it's always been yellow. It's had this decals taken off of it at some point. I've seen photos of it just yellow, but it's always been a yellow car.
And Michael Rook raced it initially out of Europe, I believe.
Yep, in the FIA since 1997 FIA GT Championship. Also raced by Alec McNish and Stefan Ortelli.
Wow, that's a good combo.
Yeah.
Hey, Bob, as a professional driver, how would you feel strapping in and taking a lap of that? Would that terrify you, or would you be like,
Yeehaw? I mean, and I appreciate the compliment, professional driver, but anybody on this table would step into that car and just absolutely love it because you get to drive a GT1. So, Am I scared of it? Absolutely not. But is it exciting? You bet.
I'd be terrified.
No, you wouldn't.
Because I don't want to be that guy that didn't drive it well.
Well, don't be that guy.
Yeah.
You know, it's all your right foot.
I still remember what I think Derek Bell told the story, and he was at a track and they were testing, and I think it was a Ferrari maybe, a prototype like this, and they asked Derek if he wanted to take a few laps in it. Of course, he said sure. He got in it, did several laps, came back in, and they said, "What do you think?" And he said, "It's great. It's very set up very well." He said, "But your boss is going to sell this in about 6 months." And they were like, "Why?" And he said, "Because," he goes, "this car you have to drive almost at 10 tenths to get the tires warm. And if the tires aren't warm, it's going to feel terrible. Your boss isn't going to be driving this at 10 tenths, so the tires are never going to warm up, and he's going to feel like it handles really bad, and he's going to end up selling it."
Right, which it doesn't handle badly.
No, he just didn't understand that it's not a street car anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a car that is made for, obviously, professional drivers or people that know what they're doing, and that means sliding. That means getting heat into the tires. And so getting to that terrifying level, you got to pass that terrifying level until you get the temperature in the tires. Then it feels great.
I don't think I can just wrap my head around of doing something bad to a car that is so valuable. Any car that I drive that is, valuable, I just get not nervous as in I can't handle it, but I just don't, I fear for doing something to the car. I would feel terrible for the owner. And
I used to feel that way at Watkins Glen. It was like I hated the track every time I went because I kept on seeing the blue bushes, which is the guardrails, guardrails. And so one time Pete Tremper said, "Follow me, come out, I'll just follow my line." And what happened was, of course, my competitive side took over, and I completely forgot about the guardrails, and I was so fixated that I'm going to pass this guy that I let myself be free, if you will, and no longer was seeing the guardrails. And in my head, I could see an accident at every single turn because, if you do enough track events, you've seen an accident at every single turn of that track. And that all went away because I was so focused. Every brain cell was when I'm going to pass Pete.
Yep.
And where am I going to pass him? And next session I was back to seeing every accident, but for that one session chasing him, I felt it felt really good to not have to worry.
Vu, to your point, so you guys just figured out the secret, and the secret is it's all in your head.
it is for sure.
And that's the secret to driving fast.
Yeah. Getting past all those.
Just all those
Being
demons.
rich and you don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the big thing is you don't want to die. But
That too. I think about that.
It's all in your head.
Yeah. All right. The next one I'm going to say, it's a spoiler alert for those of you that may have taped it. You'll want to skip through this part, but we want to congratulate Porsche and Formula E.
Yeah.
You watched it, didn't you?
I did not.
Did you watch it, Dave?
We're supposed to watch it.
No, we're going to be watching it in the office pretty soon here.
Yeah.
Is it nap time?
Pretty much. No, it'll be exciting racing, that's for sure.
Well, then you want to close your ears because we're going to say what happened.
No,
No, we already know it happens, but I still want to watch it.
So Porsche gets second place in the Manufacturers Championship in Formula E. Jaguar took the Manufacturers Championship, but Porsche driver won the Drivers' Championship. Pasquale Wehrlein?
Fantastic.
Yep. Good for him.
He ended up taking top driver championship. So
Yep.
congrats to Jaguar for manufacturer, and of course Porsche second place. But
It should be noted
Porsche.
though that the two Jaguar drivers and the Porsche driver were all, I think, 1 or 2 points away from each other. So any one of them could have taken the driver
Boy,
championship.
that's good racing.
Yeah, and the Jaguars qualified better than him.
Oh,
So
man.
yeah.
But do you feel there hasn't? I still don't see the massive marketing and push for people to watch Formula E.
Not
Like
at
I honestly, I only know about it because of Jim. Jim gives us a heads up on it, but I don't see that they're spending the marketing dollars, or maybe the marketing dollars that they're.
I don't
spending
understand about these things where they run over on the side of the track and they get a boost or something like that. And
Well, that's like fan boost and.
yeah,
I mean, it's like it's. I would say gamification, but
I don't like that.
kinda
I want to see racing. That's why I like Formula One.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, was an awesome race.
Also, I missed that as well.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
awesome, disappointing in some ways.
Max Verstappen having a meltdown in fifth place.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The radio. There was also the communications.
Oh.
And kudos to Lewis Hamilton. He's not a mature driver. And it was definitely Max's fault. They were fighting for a corner, and he ended up hitting Hamilton, and Hamilton's car sent Verstappen flying. Didn't take him out of the race. He was still in the race, but yeah.
Your car flies and it lands okay?
Piastri is the most coolest cucumber. He won his first Formula One race, and he was like, cool. Exactly.
But you've got to back up a little bit. Piastri won that race after McLaren didn't force.
It was an agreement.
Yeah.
That he had to give up the position.
Lando should have just gone for the win.
No, I think Lando wants to keep his seat.
That's why it's for the team.
You think that if Lando won that race, the team would be angry?
I think it doesn't
Doesn't help
bode
the
well.
Yeah.
And he's the only one who's won. I don't know. I see it differently, but yeah, it was a weird finish.
Yeah.
And I think Piastri was cool because he was given the win.
Lando has a very nice guy image, and I'm sure his agent was saying, just give back the position. Don't ruin this nice guy image.
Yeah.
Yeah, perhaps.
You know, and people still remember Vettel and Weber. What was the code? I forgot. That was they had some kind of code number, and at the press conference or at the end of the race, Weber keeps on yelling this number.
Yeah.
Meaning they had to switch positions. That was the agreement, and Vettel didn't. And Vettel took the win. And
Yeah.
so did Vettel lose his job? No, but it always stands out as something that people remember. Well, either way, it was a great day for McLaren, and
It was.
it was. I know. I'll probably get crucified for this, but I think that. So there's two things that Verstappen did. He played sim racing till 3 a.m. Now he's young, so he can probably do that. But he was sim racing until 3 a.m., which is, I guess, better than partying.
Yeah.
And hungry until 3 a.m. That and every time he seems to have to race wheel to wheel, really, not leading by 5 seconds, but racing wheel to wheel. He seems to have issues as of late.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's because he's dominated recently so much that he doesn't really race wheel to wheel that much. It's just he gets out in front and
Just stays
holds the place, which is perfect, I guess, if you want to win. But and fine tuning your racecraft, that's got to be kind of hard.
Yeah, racecraft and a smoking lap are totally different.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
So now he's got to work racecraft wheel to wheel, and it's probably throwing him off.
And race with the car that isn't frontline car
Right.
anymore. It's the car that has some issue that he's trying to work out. So, I mean, I can understand his frustration because he's obviously a very competitive person. But yeah, it was fun to watch the race.
A lot of radio drama.
Yes.
All right, we're going to invite you to head over to pca.org. If you haven't signed up for our free newsletters, you can sign up for e-brake news, Mart Fresh news, as well as performance news. Again, head over to pca.org. Moving over to events, we have Works Reunion Monterey, Friday, August 16th. The Judge and Corral fields are sold out. but we have plenty of parking if you want to come and spectate. It'll be a lot of fun, and we look forward to seeing you there. We also have, again, I don't know the numbers yet, but we do have about 50 spots that were available to Works Reunion participants to do a tour over at the Mecum Auctions on Saturday morning. So check in on that if you're interested. We have
It's on Motorsport Reg, right?
Motorsports Reg. Yep.
Yeah. That's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, and we've got some special surprises. It's early in the
So
morning.
does it cost money?
No, free.
Oh.
Yeah,
There's nothing free in Monterey.
yeah, it's all good.
That's awesome because normally auctions cost at least $50.
And not only
to
do you
get
get to
into.
get into it to park for free, but then if you want to register to bid, also they're giving compliments to PCA members to register for free. But we're going to get behind the scenes tours. We're going to meet some folks. We're going
Only Mecum?
This is for Mecum.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that pays your PCA membership for 2 years.
Heck yeah.
It's easy with all the stuff you're going to get.
So take advantage of it. Hopefully, there's still some slots available. If not, then hopefully it'll be a tradition not only for Monterey Car Week, but then there's some other, Kissimmee is a huge one, and hopefully they will do something similar for us down there.
So we'll bring Bob with us and give him a couple of vodkas.
Oh man, we can buy all
Start
sorts of
bidding.
cars.
Oh, good Lord.
I want to bring home that GT1, Bob. So you bring that to Cars and Coffee.
Yeah.
Never again.
Unstock. Unstock is Sunday, November 17th. Registration opens September 4th. This is our dedicated event to modified Porsches. We are at the IBOC headquarters, and it'll be tons of fun. We've got some new events that we'll be doing. We've got
Electric car exhaust contest.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Not electric car.
We have our Grand Marshal, Alan Springer, excuse me, joining us, and autograph sessions and such. So stay tuned with that. And let's see, Macan videos. You want to talk about that?
Oh, we talked
We've
about it
talked
last
about
week,
the last
but
two episodes.
It's finally out.
Okay.
I guess the new one I didn't put in there was your 718 video.
We talked about the 718 video last week and the
Did we?
week before as well.
So if you haven't checked it out, head over to YouTube and
What's coming out this week? That's going to be out by the time we read.
So I was just going to say, let's not talk about videos because I honestly have no clue what's coming out this week off the top of my head. So
he's preparing them, ladies and gentlemen. Just want to mention also, if we were talking about racing earlier, but if you want to race from the comfort of your home, try out PCA Sim Racing Program. And we will also be getting ready. I'll be, a few of us will be heading out to Seattle and heading on the PCA Treffin at Sea to Alaska, 850 folks. Now, we'll remind you, those of you that didn't get to register and you're not joining us, if you're considering a cruise, you can still use the PCA concierge service through Princess. So do that. And then, of course, we are looking to announcing our 2025 cruise. We'll do that on the ship. And as soon as we get landside, we will let everyone else know. And you'll want
Did
to
you
report
talk to
that.
your wife? Are you going whale watching or?
We are not going whale watching, so I will be able to be.
I think we're going to record a podcast with
Yeah,
Nathan.
there we go.
And Nathan's shop the day before the Titanic leaves port in search of icebergs up in Alaska.
Oh my goodness. I will remind you, we have the PCA web store with a bunch of PCA Insider merch. We've got bottles, mugs, T-shirts, and such. But if you just want a PCA Insider decal, just send us a note at podcast@pca.org. Anything else before we wrap this up, gentlemen? All good?
Are you going to bring this green car that none of us ever seen to Cars and Coffee one day?
Yeah,
The
sure.
prototype, the semi-prototype?
Sure.
Or we could just go over to a shop and get a real detailed look at it.
Once the engine is done.
Yeah. Why don't we do a forever car series? Forever.
Oh,
Porsche
that would be fun.
Forever Porsche series.
And we could watch it 3 years later go, ah,
Yeah, look at you, right?
forever car got sold.
Yeah.
3 months after the video came out.
Here's my
And a
forever-
follow-up.
Yeah, exactly. Now we could take wagers and everything and end up in Vegas. That'd be pretty cool. Anyways, thank you for listening. If you aren't currently a PCA member and own a Porsche, grab that VIN, head over and set yourself up with a PCA membership. For those of you that don't currently own a Porsche, we have the test drive program. It unlocks a bunch of resources and helps you find that special Porsche for your driveway or garage. Remember to follow our podcast Instagram page, behind the scenes photos and videos, Porsche Club Insider, all one word. And of course, always feel free to send us a message at podcast@pca.org. And please, if you enjoy the segment, hit the like button. Be sure to comment and of course, subscribe. Until next time, stay safe and we'll catch you down the road.